Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Addicts, Season 3. We're officially on Episode 4, even though Episode 3 did not happen, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. My guest today is my good friend, Tony Rathman. Tony, before we get started, just introduce yourself to everybody, and then we got about 3 questions just so everybody can get to know you, and then we'll dig deep into the videos and stuff we got going.
You got it. I'm Tony Rathman. I've been an ITC researcher, coming up on Valentine's Day as of 16 years. Was fascinated with voices, continued to go down that path from EVP to ITC, then transitioned into Staticom, which we're going to talk about tonight. And the 3.0 version gives full two-way communication using nothing but white noise. And that's where I'll leave it for now. But like I said, been doing that coming up on 16 years now, and it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I don't want to skip too far ahead, but yeah, I mean, being able to get two-way communication with just right noise is that's like groundbreaking stuff. But let's go with the easy questions right now, just so everybody can get to know you, Tony. The first one is, you're often referred to as the voice behind the static. What does that phrase actually mean to you? Not branding-wise, but responsibility-wise.
Well, it means lots of things. The voice behind the static is because broadband white noise, which produces the static sound, is the absolute be-all, end-all of this process. There is a dual process that occurs with white noise, and that is kinetic manipulation and stochastic resonance. And both of those principles are needed in conjunction with each other to make these voices happen. So I think I sent over an actual video that demonstrates out for people who aren't aware of what Staticom does, how it functions, but we can get to that after your questions.
Yeah, we do have that. We do have that video, and it is in my line of questions, so we will get there. We got a couple people saying and yes, I know I'm echoing, and I don't know why. So we'll try this. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Am I echoing?
I think it's me.
I don't hear it. Yeah, they're saying you're echoing.
Yeah, I am echoing, and I really don't know why. I've never had that happen before. Let me play with my audio. Okay, I got the echo cancellation on, so I don't know. I don't know.
Do you hear echo when I speak?
How about now? Is that better? No, that's still echo. Okay. All right. We're just going to have to deal with that. I don't know. So I guess you get me in stereo day. So next question is, when you first started working with communication-based tools, what was the moment you realized that it wasn't just random white noise?
Well, obviously because there was speech involved. Not just speech with clarity that you could decipher exactly what was being said, and the fact that it was answering my questions with timing, relevance, and intelligence. So that can't happen from white noise. White noise contains no vocal data whatsoever, no sounds, no syllables, no words, no sentences. And to have that show up, that was a very clear and distinct indication that something anomalous was occurring, and these voices were coming out of nowhere from something not in physical form in front of us, and being able to answer the question that I was asking without me broadcasting my voice. There's no mics, there's no nothing. It's a closed system. It's just white noise pumped in, and these answers to the questions I'm asking show up.
All right, so the next question is I think, kind of an important one, kind of kind of get a little bit deeper into the whole Satacom without actually digging into it. But it's a lot of investigators chase activity. You've always emphasized listening. Why is that distinction important?
Well, because for a variety of reasons. I mean, there's so many axioms out there that have been passed down for I don't know how many years within the paranormal. Like if you put two mirrors together, it's going to create a portal. Where is the research behind that? Where has it ever been shown that if I take a quarter and throw it at one mirror, it's going to come out the other mirror, or anything in between, or even just disappear? Right. There are axiom after axiom that people just, and even portals. There is some proof to portals. Things like apports, where items appear out of nowhere. That is some supportive proof behind it. But, it's better when doing research to draw a straight line from what the research is showing and then deciphering how you believe it's happening, rather than going in circles and zigzagging all over the place from the evidence that you're getting to the answer of how you believe it's occurring. And that's what we try to do.
Well, I think it's important to listen. I try to, we discussed this before, but, I approach my investigations from a scientific standpoint. So, and I've always believed that if the spirit is there, they have some kind of message they want to relay to us. So listening is very important. So.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. The concern that comes in with using science is that a spirit, apparition, whatever you want to call it, can break every physics principle in the materialistic setting or the physicalistic setting. I mean, people say, spirit walked through a wall. But then somebody else says, I got punched or scratched, or the picture flew off the wall and flew across the room. Okay, well, those are some major physics principles that are already being broken. You can't not adhere to 3D reality and adhere to it in the same circumstances. Moving a picture off the wall and throwing it across the room. So we know for a fact that what is considered physical science or the physical realms of materialism can't be fully applied when talking about paranormal activity, because they can break every law under the book. So we have to literally empty the cup out and try to start over and put together reasonable explanations that may fit some of the laws of physics, but you can't rely on it completely because it's flawed in that nature.
I agree, and that's why the paranormal field will always be a pseudoscience, because we don't apply to the scientific rules. So yeah, so okay, so we are going to move on to our first clip here. Hopefully this works out right. Here we go.
Yeah, before we play, let me just explain. Oh, that's not the first clip.
But that was it. No.
That's not the first clip.
Spirits, can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? Yes. I'd like to talk to some of the spirits in this hospital. Do you remember me? I'm Tony. Do you remember me? Tony. I would like to speak to Michael. Is he still here? Yeah. Michael, are you there? Yeah. Michael, do you remember saying hi to me loud and clear that I could hear you with my own ears? Do you remember that, Michael? Yes.
All right.
Okay,
So-
the one you want to play first, Kent, is the one labeled clip 1. That's the one that explains everything about Staticom for your audience to understand what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, so that clip on my side is called "Re-Acknowledge You." So that's my question is a follow-up question to the video. So that video was really interesting, and like you said, that basically pretty much explains Staticom for anybody that don't know anything about it, because like you said, it takes just the white noise and you get actual answers. My question is, in the "Re-Acknowledge You" clip, there was a clear moment of direct response. When something answers back that specifically, what is your process for rolling it out as coincidence?
Well, it's not possible. There's no vocal data in it whatsoever. It can't pick up radio waves. There's no word banks. There's no voice-generated AI that generates voice. There should be no speech there. So to get any speech through broadband white noise is an anomaly within itself. The fact that it can take a question that I asked and answer it within seconds with timing and relevance to the question that I asked and display intelligence, none of that should be occurring.
Exactly. And I basically answered that question so you could give me that explanation. That was basically the whole point of that question. So, all right, so we're going to try to play this one. We're actually going to go ahead and play 2 back to back. So, let's do this one first.
Did you have the
All right, thank you. Can we get your name, please?
Search and 14 different device iterations, realized a fundamental truth. Spirits do not need radio waves. They need raw energy. This realization led to the birth of Staticom 3.0. This is not a spirit box. It is a breakthrough in instrumental transcommunication. Unlike traditional devices that scan radio frequencies, Staticom 3.0 is a closed system, not using radio signals, word banks, or voice-generated AI, and is shielded from radio signals, satellite signals, and electromagnetic interference. This means there is zero chance of a stray broadcast, a commercial, or a music clip being mistaken for a spirit voice. At its core, the system utilizes broadband white noise and scientific principles called kinetic manipulation and stochastic resonance simultaneously to create the voice and then to elevate the signal. By providing a high-frequency energy field that acts as a blank canvas, spirits can manipulate that blank canvas, the broadband white noise, at a molecular level to form clear, audible speech. Tony has moved the field away from broken fragments and into the realm of direct voice, real-time, two-way communication that functions like a bridge between worlds. The results are not just clear, they are intelligent. Through Staticom 3.0, we are hearing spirits speak in full, grammatically correct sentences. They are identifying objects in the room and answering complex questions with zero delay. When Tony asked, "How do you hear me speak?" the response was instant. Energy of the mind. This is more than ghost hunting. It is validation. In recent demonstrations, families have heard the unmistakable voices of lost loved ones, providing a level of closure that was once thought impossible. This is no longer a hobby. It is a mission to unlock the secrets of frequency and vibration. But to reach the next phase, Staticom 4.0, Tony needs your help. Be part of the research that is finally answering the oldest question in human history. To see the raw evidence and support the development of this technology, visit the Staticom Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Staticom. The bridge is built. All proceeds go directly to Staticom research. Now, it is time to listen.
All right. So,
So that's an overview of how Staticom functions.
all right. So, Karen said I'm skipping over everything important. I actually have. I'm probably going to go back and cover everything. Hopefully, I have questions in order of videos. So, but we will get. So just so everybody knows, don't get ahead of me. I if I miss something that we think that you think is important, we will cover that before we get off here. I promise. I'm just trying. I'm trying to get as much information out as I can in my time period before the next show. You know, I tend to run over a lot, and they're like, so I try to be respectful of the other people's time too. So, all right, so
Understood.
so okay, let's talk a little bit about a REM pod right now. Just because we did have a REM pod in a couple of the clips. So, and I guess most of us use a REM pod, or at least have one in the toolbox. I personally have a couple of different versions. The REM pod to me is one of those devices that is okay to have in your toolbox. It can be useful, but it has limitations and weaknesses. So but this so in the REM pod interaction clip, how do you personally interpret intelligence interaction versus environmental trigger?
Well, when you played that clip, you missed about the first 20 seconds of it, which is when the REM pod was going off. We had Staticom running, and my wife said, "Spirits, is that you touching the REM pod?" The voice came through clearly and said, "Yep," and then immediately took its presence away from the REM pod, and it quit.
Spirits, is that you touching the REM? Spirits, is that you touching the REM pod? All right, thank you. Can we get your name?
Okay, so yeah.
That was the part that was amazing. So the REM pod was going off. My wife said, "Spirits, is that you touching it?" They said, "Yep." And as soon as they said "yep," when she asked the question, it went off and didn't come back on.
And we saw that there. I have no idea why when I started that video, it started 20 seconds in. No idea. I didn't do that on purpose. That's just where it started. But we got it now. So
Yep.
so thank you, Karen, for letting me know that. So yeah, I don't know. So okay. So there is a tone shift in the Staticom description video. You feel different tools bring through different types of communication, or is it more about the operator?
It's probably about 40% of the equipment and technology. I would say the other 60% is definitely the operator. That was shown with Marcello Bacci. He used direct radio voice for like 35 years. When they took him into a scientific lab and they pulled the equipment out of the radio, vacuum tube by vacuum tube, the only thing they could do to make the voices stop communicating was to remove Marcello Bacci himself. When they took him away, the voices quit. So I never thought it was the operator until the last couple of years, but the operator definitely has a higher percentage of the communication, and the operator's consciousness with external consciousness to create that occurrence and make it occur.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next video. Hopefully we play this one from the beginning.
Okay.
Do you have any advice as to what to do? So do any of the spirits that reside here want to speak with us? What is your name?
It's not gonna happen.
Yes, we know they're dead. Their energy is still here, right?
All right. So it said a spirit with accent. So, the question, my follow-up question to that is, the tuberculosis center clip had a very different feel than the others. How much do you think place and history influence how communication comes through?
Well, I mean, your video froze during the two first and last names that were given, but Karen asked
Yeah.
if any of the tuberculosis patients were here, can we have your name? And it gave two names, first and last, to her. Now, we have not had an opportunity to research those names yet because that was done just a couple weeks ago. But if those names show up in the research, that's pretty darn convincing that the information was accurate.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue that. I had a case. It was a residential case, so I don't talk much about it because, residential cases aren't about likes and stuff. It's about helping the family. But I got a name. I got the name and the backstory. And then I was able to go check the archives and at the library and the historical society, and I was able to match the name and the circumstances with a newspaper article for 1926. So,
Yeah, and that's what we have to do yet. We just times hasn't allowed for that to happen yet, but those names will be looked up and referenced back to that tuberculosis center.
okay, when a location carries documented trauma, how do you adjust your approach and your language?
Okay, so when a place contains documented drama, what was the last part after that?
How do you adjust your approach and your language?
We don't, because we're dealing with communication, and they know what I'm thinking before I even say it. It's a matter of being open, communicating, asking what you want to ask, and then waiting to see what comes through. Whether the place had trauma or no trauma, communication is still can be received. There's not a place on the planet yet we've taken Staticom and not had communication. And that happens, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, any time of day. So the communication may differ based on what occurred in the location, but it doesn't change the way we ask or with the integrity that we ask the questions.
And I think that's very important because, like you said, spirits already know, the communication is already there. They already know. So consistency is very important. I like to treat the spirit. I tell people all the time when I go to a location, I treat the location, the spirits, everybody with respect. Just consistency. So, okay, so we're going to try to play 3 videos here. So let's see how this works. There we go. So video 1.
For me? Yes, okay. Phil wants to know, do you have an organized group in spirit that helps work with us with Staticom? Yes. Are there any past ITC researchers that are part of that group?
Could that be Marcello Bocci?
Yes. Are you for me? Yes, okay. Phil wants to know, do you have an organized group in spirit that helps work with us with Staticom? Yes. Are there any past ITC researchers that are part of that group?
Could that be Marcello Bocci?
Yes. So Bocci's part of that group? Yes. How about Tesla? Yeah, lots of questions. How about Edison? Thomas Edison. Edison.
Can we connect to Marcello Bocci, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Marcello, are you there? Spirits, what about Constantine Radova? They're nervous? Can I speak to Constantine Radova? Constantine, are you there? Yes. Are you helping spirits communicate with humans? What about Tesla? If he's around, say Tesla. Yeah, spirits, when you're saying the next chapter, are you talking about like when we hit, or what we're working on now is Staticom 4.0? Is that what you're referring to?
Okay, that was super interesting.
Do you know it's working?
I'm sorry, what was that, Tony?
I was going to say that was super interesting because we had gotten messages from who we believed to be Marcello Bocci a year, 2 years ago. And when my wife asked for them, they gave some unbelievable information. And that information was he lives. Careful.
Some of that.
He's not there anymore. He's probably reincarnated and back here on Earth.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I mean, so, as we discussed yesterday, I think it was, I was a little bit behind on my research for today's episode because I've been sick all week. But I did, when you asked me if I had downloaded all the videos, I had actually got off work early today. They send us off. They send us home after 2 hours. So,
Oh, wow.
So I was like, why not even come into work? But it gave me time to do my research. So that was good. But so yeah, I find all this really interesting. So let me go ahead and play these other 2 clips.
All right.
Can you please say testing so we know it's working? Thank you. Because it's that soft.
Hey, spirits, I have a question. What is the holiday that is coming up?
Christmas, right there.
That was right before Christmas too, so.
Lenin, did you know that you were shot? Do you have a message for your family? To your mom? I saw you how they shot you. Or shoot you. Lenin, kilala mo ba kung sinong bumaril sa'yo? Yes, para mabigyan ka ng hustisya. Kilala mo ba kung sinong bumaril sa'yo? Just give me the name, Lenin, so I can help you.
You need another one?
Did you know how you were killed? Lenin was shot and killed last Monday.
Lennon, do you know who did it or not? Yes. Can you give a name, please? Let's start with first name. What's his first name? Christian. Was that a name? Was Christian a name? Was Christian a first or last name? Okay, first name. Do you have a last name?
Think you might have froze, Kent.
All right, we're back. I want to apologize. I know we keep losing a little bit, but we do have ice on our Wi-Fi still. So, all right. So this next question is really more. I just want you to answer it because so people can see how much difference Staticom is than like ITC. Okay, so that's what this question is. The question says names come through a lot in EVP work, like in the Karen and Lennon clips. How do you prevent pattern seeking from turning into assumptions?
Say that last part again. How do I assume what?
How do you prevent pattern seeking from turning into assumptions?
Well, first of all, there is no pattern there. Names should not be coming out. Lennon was a personal friend of Cherie and I who was shot point blank in the Philippines. He answered her and answered every question, including Tagalog words, which should not have been occurring. We asked him who shot him. We got a first and a last name when we asked that question.
And that's the answer I wanted. Like I said, I put that one there just so people can understand, with your ITCs, whether it's Obelisk or Ultra Swift or whatever, it's radio waves. So you'll just get random names sometimes. With the Stratacom, like you said, there shouldn't be any names. So if you get a name,
you're right. There's no speech whatsoever. There's no syllables, no sound, no nothing. Static is that hissing sound, that hissing white noise, yet we're getting speech from it. It cannot pick up radio, it cannot pick up telephone, walkie-talkies, nothing. The system is encased in EMI resistant steel, then shrouded in military-grade Faraday, blocking all signals. And then we even went as far as pounding a 10-foot pole into the backyard 2.5 feet into the ground to ground the circuit to. And still the voices continued. That should not be possible. These are anomalous voices.
Right. And that's what that question was for, because I wanted you to emphasize that. So when a name comes through clearly, do you document first and research later, or do you research first?
Well, you can't research first. You don't know what answer's coming through.
Right. Yeah. I guess a better way to answer that question is, when you go to a location, do you go in blind or do you research the location?
No, we don't ever research because we don't want to put answers into our head. We will go in with just Staticom and start asking questions and let the answers come through on their own.
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and Nancy, no, you won't get any radio. It's a white noise generator. It does not have the ability to pick up radio, satellite waves, CB, walkie-talkie, nothing. It's a white noise generator that produces the sound of static, and it's a closed system, cannot pick up any outside signals.
Nancy's also glad that she can still cuss when she passes over. So the next question is, in the Tulsa clip, it sparked a lot of conversation. Do you think spirits? We're not even going to answer the question because I don't even know what I was thinking when I wrote it. But I do think Nancy says she needs one. I think we all need one, Nancy. But so I do think the Tulsa clip was really interesting because, like you said, it goes back to people you communicated with before, so it's just, I think it just echoes the point that this is intelligent communication. It's not just random.
Right, and what was fascinating about that is everyone refers to him as Nikola Tesla. They called him Nick. I've never heard that. Never heard him called that before. So that was wild.
No, so the next section that I got to go in is we're going to talk a little bit about ethics and responsibility. But before I do that, we've had a couple people join in late, so I want to go back and show the Staticom, the script video, and after it plays, you can go into like more detail if you want to. Just try to explain it to everybody. So
sure.
So let's do that.
Rathman, a pioneer with 16 years of research and 14 different device iterations, realized a fundamental truth. Spirits do not need radio waves. They need raw energy. This realization led to the birth of Staticom 3.0. This is not a spirit box. It is a breakthrough in instrumental transcommunication. Unlike Staticom 3.0 is a closed system, not using radio signals, word banks, or voice-generated AI, and is shielded from radio signals, satellite signals, and electromagnetic interference. This means there is zero chance of a stray broadcast, a commercial, or a music clip being mistaken for a spirit voice. At its core, the system utilizes broadband white noise and scientific principles called kinetic manipulation and stochastic resonance simultaneously to create the voice and then to elevate the signal. By providing a high-frequency energy field that acts as a blank canvas, spirits can manipulate that blank canvas, the broadband white noise, at a molecular level to form clear, audible speech. Tony has moved the field away from broken fragments and into the realm of direct voice, real-time, two-way communication that functions like a bridge between worlds. The results are not just clear, they are intelligent. Through Staticom 3.0, we are hearing spirits speak in full, grammatically correct sentences. They are identifying objects in the room and answering complex questions with zero delay. When Tony asked, "How do you hear me speak?" the response was instant. Energy of the mind. This is more than ghost hunting. It is validation. In recent demonstrations, families have heard the unmistakable voices of lost loved ones, providing a level of closure that was thought impossible. This is no longer a hobby. It is a mission to unlock the secrets of frequency and vibration. But to reach the next phase, Staticom 4.0, Tony needs your help. Be part of the research that is finally answering the oldest question in human history. To see the raw evidence and support the development of this technology, visit the Staticom Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Staticom. The bridge is built. All proceeds go directly to Staticom research. Now, it is time to listen.
All right, so that's the description. Do you have anything to add to that, Tony?
No, that video pretty much sums everything up about how it works. So there's someone in the audience saying, well, what kind of energy can break through the shielding? Kinetic energy is the answer, and that's how the kinetic manipulation happens. So, you know, white noise is every single sound the human ear can hear at a spectral frequency of 1, meaning everything's even. So that's like having an entire orchestra sitting in front of you and you handing them a blank page with no notes on it. Well, through that kinetic energy and the kinetic manipulation, they can create vowel sounds, consonant sounds, word sounds, and sentences. But without the stochastic resonance, you'd never hear it because it wouldn't be strong enough to even punch the speaker cone loud enough for it to produce the sound. So it is a combination of the kinetic manipulation and the stochastic resonance happening simultaneously that allow it to be punched through the speaker into the range of human hearing and heard.
All right, so let's go through the ethics and responsibility section. So, do you think there's an ethical line the investigators cross without realizing it, whether working with communication tools?
Well, I mean, we never know what we're going to get. And, I mean, we've been doing this now coming up on 16 years. Have we done lots of tests that were complete failures? Absolutely. But it taught us what not to do. So I guess nothing was a failure when you learn from it. And that's how we got to Staticom 3.0 today.
So what responsibility does an investigator have after they capture compelling communication?
Well, I mean, all sorts of things. You know, what kind of protection is around this? Who's going to get a hold of it? What are they going to try to use it for? Could it be used for the wrong types of purposes? Absolutely. Where does it actually fit in? I mean, it literally breaks materialistic science. Religion says, oh, you're not supposed to speak to spirits. So it battles that arena. And what if it actually could be scientifically proven that something is occurring here, which we know it is, beyond rationale? Where does it stop? Could you be in court fighting over a will? And, two people are going back and forth. No, the house was supposed to go to me. No, the house was supposed to go to me. And Staticom could really bring that person forward with a vocal saying, no, it's supposed to go here. How would that affect a court case? How would that, I have no idea. So, yes, to be careful with what it can do, but yet the information that can be learned, the understanding that can be given, I think far outweighs the concerns, but there needs to be a balance without a doubt.
All right, so we got a question from the comments, from the viewers. This is, in your opinion, what are the objects generating the kinetic energy?
Okay, that's real easy to me. That's consciousness. Whether that be the consciousness of collective consciousness, which is we believe to be the ontological primitive of life. Even if you look at something as simple as quantum physics, atoms and protons change reaction when observed by consciousness. So it's no different than that conscious energy cannot manipulate white noise to create speech. And then, of course, the other property of white noise is stochastic resonance to allow that to be elevated to a point where it can be heard through the technology. But that kinetic energy is, we believe, consciousness.
That head you saw, everybody, that was my daughter. She's getting ready for her homecoming dance, so she had to give her daddy a hug. Okay, so we got a few more questions and 10 minutes, so we'll see if we can get these questions in here. So, have you ever captured anything that made you stop and say, this doesn't need to be cured just yet, or at all?
No, I mean, we always dive in, no matter what comes out. We dive into every aspect of it to figure out what it meant, how it fits in, where it ties in, where the evidence points. And we've never backed away from anything. The only thing we backed away from one time was something we'd probably have considered a little dark, more on the dark side, which was captured in Gettysburg. That one we didn't even review it after because of, what had come through. But normally, yes, we go after every piece of it. It's the only way to learn.
You're right. Okay, so now the next section of questions is my category I got it under is advice for fellow investigators. So the first question is, what's the biggest mistake you see new investigators make when working with EVP or ITCs?
Well, that's a very broad question. I mean, there's so many problems. EVPs are, unless they're Class A, they're extremely hard to hear. Multiple people will hear different things. If you don't have consensus on what's said, you might as well throw it out, because you can't put a story together or information together if you're not even sure what was said. And that's a huge mistake that's made, which was one of the things with Staticom we have been working so hard to clear, so that 99.9% of the people in the room hear what's being said and all agree with what's being said. But there's a mistake. Something like the ovulus, which the human vocabulary has got over 26,000 words. The ovulus has 6,000, which means there's nothing paranormal about it. It's pulling words randomly with both time and has no relevance to what was being asked. There's nothing paranormal about it.
I'm going to avoid that. So, even though I do agree with you completely, I will say that. So, then my next question is, if someone only takes one thing away from your work, what do you want it to be?
Well, I guess plain and simply, as fascinating as Staticom is, and the ability to be able to reach out to the unknown and get anomalous responses, I think the most important thing to take away from this is tell the people that are here now that you care about them, you love them, and that they are important in your life, because that's what matters.
Okay, so this one is a little bit personal. How do you personally stay grounded after an intense communication session?
It can be really difficult. I mean, I work a day job, and when you're out the night before and you just get amazing communication or information that just blows your mind, it's really hard to stay focused, go back to work the next day and do your job without thinking, okay, I was doing this last night and now I'm doing this. That it can be difficult to stay focused. I would say that's one of the difficult things.
And I agree with that. My day job is I work at MCP, which is a candle factory. So, and my job is I'm in the production thing. So I control the conveyor belt. So I control how fast and yeah. So after I have a good investigation on Saturday into Sunday morning, it's hard for me to go back to work that Monday and focus on getting 90 candles a minute down the line. So I definitely agree with that. So, all right. So we're going to do a reflection section. So after everything you've heard through the Staticon, do you feel you're being contacted? Or are you learning how to listen?
Do I feel I'm being contacted, or what was the other choice?
Or if you're learning to listen?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt, based on the fact that the responses to the questions that I'm asking are with timing and relevance and intelligence. There's no doubt I'm being responded to. But we can turn Staticom on and just listen to them speak. We don't have to ask a question. So it's a combination, I guess, of both, depending on what you feel like doing that day.
And the last question I got for you is, what's next for you in research? We saw the video that you're working on version 4.0. So just tell everybody a little bit about that and how they can help. Yeah,
well, I went through months of drawing up contracts, non-disclosure agreements with a very talented ITC researcher in Brazil. Him and I have combined. We have started the work, but we still have a long way to go. But we are going to elevate this into something even far beyond what Staticom 3.0 can do. We're going to advance the communication. We're going to advance how it looks, how it operates, and take it to the next level. So that is the next stage of the operation. Hopefully we can further clear the voices, get them even better than they are now. We're going to look at other options and tests we want to do. But Samuel Andrate and myself will be putting all of our effort into Staticom 4.0.
Okay. we didn't touch on this time like we did last season, but you do like to travel and educate people on Staticom and that kind of stuff. So do you have any Paracons or events coming up soon?
Yeah, we just got back from a couple of them. We were in Canada. We did a Paracon there. We did 2025's Phenomicon. For 2026, we will be at the Gold Country Paracon. We will be at the Oracle Paracon in Oracle, Arizona. And we've got a bunch of stuff lined up for 2026 that I can't quite discuss yet, but includes hopefully a trip to the Philippines as well as maybe France. So time will tell.
That's very interesting. Something to look forward to. And I put on a little event here in Kentucky. I'm the planner and host for the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. So maybe one of these days we can have you, if it's within my budget, So I laugh at what some of these people think the worst. Yeah, I've actually had people ask me for $7,500 plus travel plus room.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is, and so it is what it is. But we'll talk about that off screen. But yeah, I would love to have you sometime.
Well, we'd love to be there.
I'm trying to next year is year 5, so I'm really trying to bring year 5 up, But this year I got Energy Thompson from 28 Days on It is coming down. So
Very cool.
He's a good friend. I don't think we've talked about this, Tony, but my first book will be out for purchase for Friday.
Awesome.
And Energy Thompson actually wrote my foreword, so I'm excited about that.
What's it titled?
You're going to love this. Are you ready for it? Don't buy generic batteries, and it's probably not a demon.
Nice.
Yeah, you like that? But yeah, and I'm already working on my second one. You're going to like the title of the second one even more. The title of the second one is "It Takes More Than Wearing Skinny Jeans and Yelling Demon to Be a Paranormal Researcher."
That's true. That is true.
Anyway, thank you for being on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And everybody check out Staticom. This is literally a groundbreaking evidence. That's what we all say we want is the groundbreaking evidence, and that's what Staticom is bringing to us. So definitely want to keep an eye on it. And next week I got Thomas Gromley as my guest, so be sure to tune back to that. I will be back at my regular time at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. We had a special time today, so I can get my good friend Tony on. Again, thank you for being on here, and we'll talk more about the expo later.
All right.
Hold on, we got 2 comments. Let's see if we got anything. Oh, no, we just said it's a good show and good work. All right, so here we go. All right.